This is QTV News coming to you from our studios on Caraba Avenue. I'm Umudu Gajaga and thank you for joining us. First, here are the main news headlines. The Public Utility Regulatory Authority, PURA, on Thursday presented Internet Protocol telephone sets to the Gambia Fire and Rescue Services. The Women's Sports Journalists Association of the Gambia, or the Women Journalists Association rather, paid courtesy calls on Wednesday and Thursday on the UNFPA and the Gambian National Assembly respectively. An 8-year-old girl, a grade 1 pupil at St. John Basic Cycle School in Farafenni, needs urgent overseas surgery for a fractured skull. In international news, the World Health Organization has issued a cough syrup alert in Cameroon, flagging a batch of nature cold cough and cold syrups sold in the country. And in sports news, CAF President Dr. Patrice Motsepe has expressed optimism about the future of African football in reference to the ongoing FIFA Women's World Cup jointly hosted by Australia and New Zealand. Those were the news headlines, and now the news in detail. Welcome and thank you for joining us. This is QTV News. The Public Utilities Regulatory Authority, PURA, on Thursday presented Internet Protocol telephone sets to the Gambia Fire and Rescue Services. Jenna Bosonko was at the presentation and filed this report.
The donation of the IP phones is to help strengthen communications between the public and the Gambia Fire and Rescue Services in emergency situations. The Gambia Fire and Rescue Services has a mandate to save lives and property. The two institutions signed an MOU which gave birth to numerous support the Gambia Fire and Rescue Services have received from the regulator. At the presentation, Yusufa M. Job, the Director General of PURA, recognized the efforts of the Gambia Fire and Rescue Services in saving lives and property, especially during fire outbreaks, and called on the public to have trust in the rescue service.
This small donation is part of our corporate social responsibility, which as a regulatory authority, we also have to support the society and the people to ensure that those who don't have all the tools or the funds, whatever little we can, we also give to make it possible. You play a very pivotal role in the society and you impact many lives, almost all lives, because everybody could be in a situation where you need rescue or you need services of the fire. And the whole Gambian community are glad to have you.
All the support given to the Gambia Fire and Rescue Service by PURA is the facilitation and payment of a weekly radio talk show to sensitize the public on the work of the fire service. The presentation of these communication equipment came at a time when some members of the public expressed dissatisfaction with accessing the Gambia Fire and Rescue Service by phone, especially during emergencies. Assistant Chief Fire Officer Ahmad Jangha says the donation will ease communication between the public and the fire service.
Communication, our response, emergency response, depends largely on effective communication. And with the provision of this communication equipment is one way of remedying our challenges in terms of communication. If you have an effective and efficient communication system, we'll always enhance and promote effectiveness at operational situations, in emergency situations. Because it's only through effective and efficient communication system that you can retrieve proper information, activate responding teams, and they act on that information retrieved to effectively deal with situations.
Population growth, poor physical planning, and poor electrical wiring are all huge contributing factors to flooding and fire outbreaks in the Gambia. The Gambia Fire and Rescue Service have spoken several times about the lack of equipment to quell fire outbreaks. This donation also came at a time when many people have raised concerns about the institution's lack of effective response to fire incidents. These Internet Protocol telephone sets will not quell fire outbreaks, but will help improve effective communication and quick response to incidents. The Gambia Fire and Rescue Service has a toll-free number for emergencies, which is 118. Reporting for QTV News, I am Jenna Bosonko.
The Women Journalists Association of the Gambia, WAJAG, paid courtesy calls on Wednesday and Thursday on the UNFPA and the Gambia National Assembly, respectively. QTV's Lolly M. Camara, who doubles as the vice president of the association, was with the team and filed this report.
The WAJAG, comprising the president, vice president, secretary, and a co-opted member, first visited at the United Nations Population Funds Office at the UN House in Bakau and met the UNFPA's country rep. Among the things discussed were capacity building and development for members on reproductive health and possible partnerships. Banna Sabali, the WAJAG secretary, while giving the background of the association, says the courtesy call is part of the association's ongoing activities to meet key stakeholders and discuss future partnerships and interventions. Dairo Sar, the UNFPA country rep, expressed delight in receiving the delegation at her office. She shared with us the outcome of the meeting.
I was very delighted to see very young women working in this line of work, committed to fighting some of the issues they faced, which include sexual harassment, salary gap, promotion, and sustainable employment. And I really look forward to supporting them with my colleagues from the UN system.
The Women Journalists Association of the Gambia was established in April 2010 under the leadership of Sadio Camara, who was the president at the time. In February of last year, the association held its first ever Congress to elect a new executive. The new executive has rebranded the association and adopted its constitution under the theme "Shattering the Glass Ceiling in the Gambian Media." The team continued its visit on Thursday to the National Assembly, where they met senior management, including the deputy clerk and directors heading different departments at the Assembly. The president of the association and head of delegation, Annette Camara, explained the reason for their visit.
Opportunities and supporting women efforts in the media, and of course to explore possible partnerships and collaboration in the fight and protection of women in the media, and of course in sexual harassment, and also ensuring that there is a fair gender gap in the media.
Halifa Mmbai, the deputy clerk of the National Assembly responsible for legal and procedural matters, and Aissatou Gassama, director Hansat National Assembly, are both delighted to meet the executives of the association for the first time.
And we are more than happy. And we have assured them that our doors are open, as always, but more widely open for this association to see how best we can fruitfully partner to make sure that our shared objective and values are achieved in the not long.
The Office of the Clerk will give the technical support needed and so that we can collaborate as partners in development when it comes to women empowerment.
According to the president, there are numerous challenges the association is faced with.
Officially, all we have achieved at the moment is branding, and the main focus we have is, the biggest constraint we have is funding to be able to implement our activities. Because what we have right now is a lot of proposals targeting institutions and getting it approved, getting partners approved budget is one of our biggest constraints.
As highlighted by the executives, WAJAG will continue to advocate for the interests of all women journalists in the Gambia. For QTV News, Lolly M. Camara.
As Women Journalists Association, they have nothing to do with sports, as I earlier on mentioned in the piece. An 8-year-old girl, a grade 1 pupil at St. John Basic Cycle School in Farafenni, needs urgent overseas surgery for a fractured skull. Dawn Williams visited the family and filed this report.
According to a family member, Awaba was coming from studies at an Arabic institution or Dara when she met a suspected mentally ill man who struck her several times on the head, fracturing her skull, leaving her unconscious at the scene. Her attacker then fled the scene. Ibrahim Ajalo, the victim's father, explained his daughter's ordeal.
Lunatic who hit my daughter on her way coming back from the Dara. And the hitting was very serious and it was very heavy. The girl is just 8 years old. It broke her skull It was so serious that she has some bleeding in the brain, neurosurgeons there. And now that she has some operations, one of her side almost paralyzed. It is just improving, but it is almost paralyzed.
Mr. Jallow said he arrived at the scene few minutes after the incident and found his daughter unconscious and rushed her to Farafenni General Hospital before being referred to the Edward Francis Small Teaching Hospital in Banjul. The family is appealing to the public for help to save the young girl's life.
Then she was unconscious. She didn't know where she was. Then I picked her. God being so good, it happened within 2 minutes I arrived at the scene because I saw people running towards her to rescue her. So the lunatic just dropped her and then ran away.
Mr. Jallow, our father, is also appealing for help.
We need help financially and definitely if she can be taken further for a further treatment, we'll be very happy.
Ms. Musa, our teacher at St. John the Baptist Lower Basic Circle School, also spoke to us about the matter.
She's that child who knows that she is very vocal, and whenever she sees something is happening in class, she communicates. So in that case, I really cherish her so much. And her being absent from school and not attending her lesson during this period is really a big blow to her.
Ms. Musa, on behalf of the school, is appealing to philanthropists, government, and NGOs for support.
She is really looking for help, and if there is help from anywhere, we really appreciate it.
This issue of mentally disturbed people or people with mental health problems roaming our streets is a very big problem, which needs to be given serious attention. They pose a threat to passers-by, especially school children. Even though not all of them are dangerous and harmful, the wild ones may end up randomly attacking people. For now, a young girl's life and future hang in the balance. Anyone willing to help can contact QTV via email at news@qtv.gm. Don Williams reporting from Farafenni.
Some disturbing news there. We will now go for a commercial break, and when we return, we still have some more local, international, and sports news stories. Do stay tuned.
Modu came in to buy some bathroom floor tile, but once he laid eyes on our basins, he fell in love with a stunning basin and with a breathtaking faucet. With a brand new mirror too, at a bargaining price.
So, I got a bathtub too.
Oh yes, he picked up a bathtub too.
And yes, that's Bettymat's Betty Days. Take advantage of exceptional discounts up to 60% on tiles, sanitary, electrical, and lighting. From March 4th to 18th, you will be splurging. Bettymat, welcome home.
To make sure your company's products and services reach your potential customers, it is essential that you choose the right channel for your marketing purposes. QTV has the widest reach locally and beyond, and we can give your business the visibility it needs. Call QTV Marketing on +220 324 4444 or email us at marketing@qtv.gm and take your business to the world.
Welcome back, and thank you very much for joining us. This is QTV News. And now straight we head to international news. The World Health Organization has issued cough syrup alert in Cameroon, flagging a batch of nature cold, cough and cold syrups sold in the country as toxic as they contain unacceptable amounts of contaminants. Aliou Cissé has more.
As reported by DW, a German media outlet, the World Health Organization for the region of Africa stated active ingredients of natto cold syrup are listed as paracetamol, phenylephrine hydrochloride, and chlorpheniramine maleate, a combination used to relieve symptoms associated with the common cold, flu, and allergic rhinitis. The cough syrup was analyzed in a WHO-contracted laboratory after samples from Cameroon were made available last month. As much as 28.6% diethylene glycol was detected in the syrup. The acceptable limit is no more than 0.10%. Diethylene glycol, which is toxic to humans, is normally used as a solvent but can be illicitly put in medicine as a cheap alternative to more expensive ingredients. The WHO declared the product to be unsafe, especially in children, as it may result in serious injury or death. Other side effects may include abdominal pain, vomiting, and inability to pass urine, among others. The WHO is still trying to determine the origin of the products. More than 300 children died of contaminated syrup in the Gambia, Uzbekistan, and Indonesia in 2022. Many of the victims were younger than 5 years old. In the Gambia, angered and aggrieved parents are now demanding justice via the courts over the mysterious death of their children. The Medicine Control Agency of the Gambia has introduced from 1st July 2023 a regulation of a pre-shipment verification, inspection, quality testing, and a clean report from a designated agency for pharmaceuticals from India to address issues related to substandard and falsified or counterfeit medicines entering the country mandatory. Reporting for QTV News, I am Aliou Cissé.
Also in international news, the son of former Guinea-Bissau President Malam Bakay Sanyang is suspected of being linked to global drug trafficking and has even been accused of being behind the February 2022 coup attempt in his country. Julden Jai tells us more.
In November 2021, a group of suspected drug dealers and members of the infamous Italian mafia, along with Malam Bakay Jr., son of former Guinea-Bissau President Malam Bakay Sanyang, allegedly drove through Frankfurt's city center on their way to a suburban pizzeria. On the way, they openly discussed major deals and jobs between South America, Africa and Europe without realizing that the car in which they are traveling was under surveillance. Bakay Jr., known as Bakay Zinia in Bissau, had held several government positions and served as an advisor during his father's presidency. Meanwhile, in the United States, Bakay Zinia is being investigated for drug trafficking offenses after being arrested in Tanzania in 2022 by Drug Enforcement Administration agents. Several conversations between Bakay Zinia, drug dealers and undercover DEA agents were wiretapped and transcribed to support the charges against Bakay Jr. during a court hearing in the U.S. state of Texas. A verdict is expected later this year. The research team also had access to a DEA agent statements that contain specific indications that Bakay Zinia may have been connected to the February 2022 coup attempt in Guinea-Bissau. According to a face journalist, Malam Bakay Jr. repeatedly told DEA undercover agents that he was personally involved in the coup attempt and still aspires to take over the presidency of Guinea-Bissau one day to establish a drug regime there. Guinea-Bissau is considered a major hub for drug trafficking, particularly for cocaine, and has experienced 9 coups and attempted coups, as well as several political assassinations since gaining independence from Portugal in 1974. After Guinea-Bissau's most recent coup attempt in February 2022, President Umaru Sissoco Embalo hinted to reporters that the attackers could be linked to drug trafficking. The information compiled by journalists in Germany sheds a completely new light on the coup attempt in February 1, 2022, Fode Mane, a lawyer and chairman of Guinea-Bissau's National Network for Human Rights, told DW. He demands that the Attorney General's Office of Guinea-Bissau investigate reports regarding the involvement of Bakay Jr. in the coup attempt. This will require cooperation between Guinean prosecutors' office and investigative authorities in the United States, Italy, and Germany, Mane said. It seems unlikely that the Attorney General's office will investigate the case. In response to DW's inquiry, Guinea-Bissau's Attorney General Edmundo Mendes said he could not comment on the case. For QTV News, I am Julden Jai.
And now time for sports news. CAF President Dr. Patrice Motsepe has called on African teams participating in the ongoing FIFA Women's World Cup, jointly hosted by Australia and New Zealand, to emulate Morocco's historic feat during the last FIFA Men's World Cup hosted by Qatar. South Africa, Morocco, Nigeria and Zambia are the 4 countries that will represent Africa, that's the African continent, and here is an excerpt.
We are confident that the good work that Morocco did and all of those nations who represented us in Qatar. But Morocco made history and made us very, very proud. And we are confident that the nations that are representing us in Australia and New Zealand, the women's FIFA Women's World Cup, the African nations will make us proud, and we wish them all of the best. We are behind them and we are very proud of them. We were last year in Morocco, and we had more than 60,000 spectators to come and watch women's football. And a lot of good work has been done. You can see the quality is improving. And also what's very important is you can see that some of the best players in Europe are from Africa. So we are very optimistic, and it also emphasizes the investment we must continue to make in women's football, in the professional football on the continent, club football, but also encourage more academies for women's football players. We from the Motsepe Foundation made a contribution, the $10 million donation we made for schools football. But the prize money for the girls' schools that win is the same as the prize money for the boys' schools that win. So the future looks good, and we must just keep investing, keep encouraging, and also coach the coaches and train the trainers and make sure that the quality of our women's football is globally competitive. But I'm excited.
Also in sports news, Dembakunda FC are champions of the MSJ Sports for Peace football tournament in the Jimara district after defeating Sandikunda FC in the final. Alhaji A.F. Jallo has the rest of the details.
The event was held at Sotomasera football field in Jimara at the weekend. Football fans and supporters from both communities turned up in numbers to cheer up their players. Within 5 minutes of the first half, Dembakunda FC secured their first goal from a brilliant strike by number 10 Bubakar Jagana. The team went in at halftime with Dembakunda FC having a slender 1-0 lead. During the second half, Sandikunda FC struggled to equalize. In the final minutes of the second half, Dembakunda FC doubled their lead with a second half goal from a long-range strike that caught the Sandikunda FC goalkeeper unawares. Mohamed Mane is the coach of Dembakunda FC. We thank God for playing the tournament in peace and ending it peacefully. The purpose has been achieved. This is football. In a final, either you win or lose. Dembakunda happened to win. We want to thank Mohamed Saleh Jallo for organizing such a tournament, especially for the grassroots football. This will help our young ones showcase their talents. His effort in uniting the people of Jimara is appreciated. The initiator and the main sponsor of the tournament, Mamadou Saleh Jallo, used this occasion to call on all Jimara natives, both within and outside their district, to unite and put aside their differences for a better Jimara.
One of the main purposes of this tournament is to bring peace, and the other one is to make sure that these young talents are they are taken from them. The potential that they have, they are showcased. The potential they are discover, so that they can be a national asset in this country. So this is what we want.
Certificates, awards and trophies were presented to the best player of the tournament, Musa Kande of Sandikunda FC, leading goal scorer Bubakar Jagana, and best coach Usman Conte of Dembakunda FC. The runner-up and the winners went home with trophies and cash prize. Reporting for QTV in Jimara, I am Alaji A.F. Jallo.
Some exciting final there. Now, before we end this news bulletin, here's a recap of our main news headlines. The Public Utilities Regulatory Authority, PURA, on Thursday presented Internet Protocol telephone sets to the Gambia Fire and Rescue Services. The Women Journalists Association of the Gambia paid courtesy calls on Wednesday and Thursday on the UNFPA and the Gambia National Assembly, respectively. An 8-year-old girl, a grade 1 pupil at St. John Basic Cycle School, Aim Farafenye, needs urgent overseas surgery for a fractured skull. In international news, the World Health Organization has issued cough syrup alert in Cameroon, flagging a batch of Nature Cold cough and cold syrups sold in the country. And in sports news, CAF President Dr. Patrice Motsepe has expressed optimism about the future of African football in reference to the ongoing FIFA Women's World Cup, jointly hosted by Australia and New Zealand. That's all we have time for in this bulletin. Thank you very much for watching. Join us again at 10 for another bulletin.